The white ethnostate constitutes a framework for societal organization dedicated to the advancement of racial, cultural, and demographic homogeneity among individuals of European descent, resolving issues of mixture and external intrusions. This framework establishes a defined territory, encompassing scales from cities to regions, where whiteness, characterized by European ancestry, lighter skin tones, and biological indicators, functions as the central principle. The ethnostate advances stability, security, tranquility, and growth by classifying all individuals according to their alignment with this white core, ensuring complete categorization that elevates the foundational population's priorities. Patterns from uniform societies demonstrate that ethnic cohesion results in lower internal conflicts and stronger communal bonds, establishing the foundation for the framework's protective systems and systematic inclusions. Through accommodations for familial variations and alliances, the framework integrates contemporary dynamics while sustaining its commitment to white cultural values and population integrity. The framework's hierarchy ranks individuals from integration to exclusion, utilizing dual dimensions of whiteness percentage for loyalty and skin tone for compatibility, disposition, and integration. Pure whites, with unblended European heritage, hold the highest position, representing the ethnostate's core and assuming ultimate responsibilities for its protection and guidance. Lower tiers, mixed, married, merged, and supportive non-whites, allocate privileges based on these dimensions, with lighter non-white admixtures ranked superior for their connection to honor-focused norms and reduced directional resentment. This arrangement recognizes variations in whiteness definitions yet sustains precision through linkages associating lighter forms to enhanced agreement and minimized envy-based conflicts. The framework builds a comprehensive system where each person occupies specific roles, fostering unity and strength against outside forces. This analysis details the ethnostate's elements, examining its conceptual bases, ranked divisions, internal administration, and tactical requirements. It incorporates additional concepts like honor spectrums and phenotypic resentment to refine the hierarchy's accuracy based on patterns in societal structure. Through this examination, the framework demonstrates how organized preservation achieves societal superiority, highlighting virtue-based command and flexible rankings for lasting success. The review proceeds systematically, clarifying the convergence of lineage, order, and rivalry in white ethnostate design. Conceptual foundations and historical contexts. Ethnonationalism forms the basis of the white ethnostate, regarding societies as extensions of kinship connections linked to shared ancestry, traditions, and inclinations toward order and innovation. This viewpoint asserts that white groups possess unique essences, requiring separation to protect authenticity and prevent cultural decline. Whiteness, as the cohesive factor, includes European bloodlines with natural qualities for cooperation and logical thought, creating the ethnostate's center to develop these attributes. The framework supports uniformity to reach communal contentment, shielded from mixtures that bring disorder, corresponding with ethno-pluralist principles where white collectives succeed in isolated areas. By stressing proliferation and independence, it opposes population weakening, establishing the ethnostate as a defense for white racial continuity and bio-spiritual persistence. Historical instances from European areas show the advantages of ethnic sameness. Isolated Nordic communities kept nearly pure heritages through geographical obstacles, producing steady rule and cultural energy. 19th-century ethnic nationalisms reformed empires into kinship-centered states, favoring Slavic or Nordic oneness for lessened strife. In European-descended zones like colonial areas, restrictions on non-European parts maintained Anglo-Saxon control, growing creativity and trust. Russian movements outlined core identities via orthodox links, adjusting hierarchies for backing inclusions while guarding purity. Asian equivalents, such as Han-dominant integration or Yamato sameness, strengthened central ethnic management for national power, showing how preservation improves defense and societal features. Scientific fields reinforce this foundation, with evolutionary psychology linking in-group preference to ancient adaptations for kin cooperation, producing altruism in same settings. Behavioral genetics identifies inherited inclinations that prosper in matched environments, supporting bio-spirit ideas. Sociology stresses homogeneity's benefits, including welfare and decision assurance, defending categorical hierarchies. Skin tone scales add detail, associating lighter tones with honor qualities like faithfulness and control, while darker tones connect to less observance and directional resentment from phenotypic differences, such as lighter palms in dark-skinned persons inciting envy towards same lightness. These parts improve compatibility evaluations, ensuring the ethnostate's arrangement advances integration and curtails attitudinal disharmony. Categorical divisions and hierarchical ranking. The hierarchy of the white ethnostate starts with pure whites, persons of completely unblended European descent, who stand at the summit, holding full rights, privileges, and authority over the society's cultural, protective, and growth activities. This group forms the basic essence of the ethnostate, personifying undiluted whiteness in heritage and form. Internally, leadership among pure whites is male-governed, with rise determined by shown honor, duty, diligence, and the steady quality of decision-making that advances constancy, equity, population increase, and territorial safeguard. Female members receive equal protections and chivalrous care, providing perspectives indirectly through male companions, ensuring their needs for security and comfort are met without bringing direct governance influence that weakens competitive tenacity against external foes. Mixed categories form the next main tier, carefully divided along two intersecting axes: percentage of European ancestry, driving primary loyalty and identity closeness, and skin tone of the non-white component, serving as a marker for compatibility, assimilation ease, attitude, honor alignment, and directional resentment. High percentage mixed individuals, 75 to 99% whiteness, with lighter non-white admixtures, typically from East Asian or similar geographic origins associated with structured honor cultures, rank highest among mixed, benefiting from near-full protections, robust loyalty to the core, favorable assimilation potential, and minimal phenotypic envy or resentment toward uniform lighter skins. Conversely, high percentage mixes incorporating darker admixtures descend in ranking due to reduced cultural congruence with honor virtues and elevated risk of one-way attitudinal resentment linked to dichromatic pigmentation patterns. Medium percentage mixes, 50 to 74% whiteness, follow a parallel pattern. Lighter admixtures facilitate balanced integration and attitude alignment, whereas darker components introduce greater attitudinal limits and cultural divergence. Low percentage mixes, 25 to 49% whiteness, conclude this tier, with lighter admixtures offering some elevation through compatibility and honor resonance, while darker admixtures compound the lowest positioning through diminished loyalty, lesser honor adherence, and heightened directional envy toward the lighter core population. Married categories extend this dual-dimensional evaluation to spousal dynamics, assessing the whiteness percentage of the white side partner alongside the skin tone and geographic origin of the non-white or mixed spouse. Marriages involving higher whiteness or pure spouses paired with lighter-skinned non-white partners achieve superior assimilation and support potential, reinforced by honor cultural congruence and low directional resentment. The same high whiteness spouses paired with darker-skinned partners experience moderated ranking due to increased attitudinal risks and reduced honor alignment. Lower whiteness spouses married to lighter non-white partners maintain intermediate status, enhanced by attitude factors, whereas pairings with darker partners finalize the married tier at its lowest point, reflecting compounded challenges in compatibility, honor resonance, and potential phenotypic envy. Throughout these divisions, the hierarchy preserves the primacy of whiteness percentage for loyalty while leveraging skin tone, with its associated honor gradient and resentment patterns, as a critical secondary modifier for predicting long-term societal cohesion. Extended familial inclusions and supportive outsiders. Merged categories accommodate broader familial extensions such as adoptions, blended families, and indirect relatives, ranked according to relational proximity, whiteness percentage in the linked individual, and skin tone of non-white elements. Close, direct ties involving higher whiteness proximity combined with lighter admixtures lead this tier, favored for strong loyalty, ease of assimilation, alignment with honor-centric norms, and minimal directional resentment or envy. Close ties retaining higher whiteness but incorporating darker admixtures follow, tempered by moderate attitude risks stemming from lesser honor prevalence and potential phenotypic tensions. Lower whiteness proximity in close ties with lighter admixtures secures conditional inclusion through improved compatibility and honor resonance, whereas darker admixtures significantly diminish acceptance, compounding reduced loyalty with cultural divergence and elevated one-way resentment patterns. Indirect or extended ties undergo analogous subdivision, with inclusion decreasing progressively as whiteness percentage declines, skin tones darken, honor alignment weakens, and risks of directional envy rise, thereby ensuring familial accommodations remain bounded and subordinate to core preservation. Friends of whites represent non-kin supporters who lack direct whiteness ties yet demonstrate unwavering loyalty, evaluated primarily by utility level and secondarily by skin tone's implications for honor, compatibility, and attitudinal risk. High-utility individuals from lighter-skinned, geographically compatible origins, often tied to cultures emphasizing structured honor, occupy the pinnacle of this category, qualifying for limited, temporary privileges and inclusion based on necessity and public acceptance, with loyalty effectively overriding the absence of whiteness percentage. High-utility supporters from darker origins experience moderated access despite strong endorsement, constrained by lesser honor congruence and heightened potential for directional resentment. Lower utility supporters from lighter origins benefit from favorable attitude factors and reduced envy risks, securing restricted yet viable conditional status. Lower utility individuals from darker origins face the most stringent limitations among friends of whites, as diminished honor prevalence and increased phenotypic resentment compound to elevate attitudinal misalignment risks, rendering their inclusion highly contingent on demonstrated full external support. Nons constitute the final excluded stratum, encompassing all unrelated and non-supportive individuals, differentiated solely by skin tone's predictive implications rather than any loyalty factor. Lighter-skinned neutral nons, originating from regions with greater honor adherence and lower directional resentment, remain fully barred yet pose comparatively less immediate antagonism due to partial cultural and attitudinal congruence. Darker-skinned nons, associated with minimal honor structures and pronounced one-way envy or resentment toward uniform lighter phenotypes, often linked to dichromatic pigmentation awareness, form the ultimate outsiders, marked as hostile or incompatible and denied any access, considerations, or interactions to safeguard the ethnostate's boundaries and internal harmony. This exhaustive terminal division reinforces the hierarchy's totalizing scope, ensuring every conceivable human relation to the core whiteness is classified and positioned accordingly for maximal societal stability and preservation. Internal leadership and governance principles. Within the core group of pure whites, governance structures emphasize male dominance as a fundamental principle, with leadership positions ascended through demonstrated honor, duty, diligence, and the consistent quality of decision-making that promotes societal tranquility, demographic growth, and geographical expansion when necessary. Males at the highest levels bear ultimate responsibilities for the ethnostate's direction, defense, and preservation, ensuring that decisions prioritize the well-being of the pure white population, particularly the protection of young innocents and females, before extending considerations to integrated tiers and external relations. This ascent is not influenced by financial accumulation or political maneuvering but by a competitive framework where virtuous conduct and effective outcomes determine status, fostering an environment of fairness distinct from equality, rooted in honesty, restraint, and long-term communal benefit. The internal hierarchy thus functions as a meritocracy of duty, where exemplary males rise to guide the ethnostate, safeguarding its homogeneity and cultural ideals against dilution. Female roles within this pure white segment are defined by supportive contributions, granting them equal rights, privileges, and chivalrous protections while restricting direct involvement in top decision-making. Women's perspectives on safety, comfort, and familial needs are channeled indirectly through male companions, such as husbands or partners, who present these views honestly and fairly within leadership deliberations. This mechanism integrates valuable counterforces and additional considerations without introducing emotional or social priorities that might obscure strategic focus, honoring historical Western traditions where females thrive under male guardianship. By relying on family-oriented men to convey female input, the system ensures that women's requirements are met comprehensively, maintaining domestic harmony and allowing them to contribute to societal balance in ways aligned with their protected status. Concessions for greater female influence remain contingent upon thorough assessments of the ethnostate's situational challenges and overall stability, always preserving the male-dominated focus to prevent potential vulnerabilities. Even in periods of relative calm, proactive maintenance of this structure averts future threats, reinforcing virtue-based competitions that elevate the most capable leaders. This approach aligns with observed patterns where male hierarchies have sustained order and resilience against external pressures, positioning the white ethnostate for enduring prosperity through disciplined, duty-driven governance that places the core population's interests foremost. Strategic gender imperatives and competitive resilience. Male exclusivity in high-level decisions serves as a strategic imperative, providing decisive advantages against hostile outside groups and non-white societies that typically exclude females from leadership roles entirely. Such competitors, often characterized by generational enmities and histories of planning against rivals, benefit from unified, uncompromised male strategies free from internal divisions introduced by direct female participation. In contrast, permitting significant female influence within the ethnostate risks men catering to female perspectives for personal favor or broader appeal, shifting priorities toward emotional ties and social issues at the expense of rigorous protection, defense, and expansion realities, thereby creating exploitable weaknesses in intergroup competition. Indirect channels effectively mitigate these risks by enabling the honest and balanced presentation of female perspectives through established male partners, ensuring that women's needs for security, comfort, and well-being are addressed without granting them governance authority. This arrangement upholds long-standing chivalrous norms, allowing females to exert influence within familial contexts while preserving hierarchical clarity and strategic focus. Family men, particularly those with direct stakes in household stability, serve as reliable conduits for integrating countervailing views, fostering an environment where female contributions enhance societal cohesion rather than fragment decision-making processes. Contingent adjustments to the degree of indirect input are calibrated based on comprehensive evaluations of prevailing conditions, consistently prioritizing the maintenance of male structures to avoid emerging vulnerabilities even during stable phases. By filtering influences through proven intermediaries, the ethnostate reinforces its competitive edge, remaining vigilant against scheming outsiders while cultivating internal resilience. This proactive gender framework ultimately strengthens the society's capacity for sustained stability, expansion, and defense, aligning leadership dynamics with the demands of enduring intergroup rivalries. Adversaries of the white ethnostate, an inverted hierarchy. The adversaries of the white ethnostate form an inverted hierarchy that ranks threats by their opposition to white homogeneity, scaling from darker to lighter skin tones where darker groups embody more intense and numerous hostilities. At the forefront stand Jews, positioned as primary antagonists through patterns of scheming and generational opposition to white interests. Blacks follow as significant enemies, correlated with deep skin tones and high levels of animosity, low honor adherence, and directional resentment. Jeets, South Asians or Indians, Browns, and illegals continue the scale, representing demographic pressures and cultural incompatibilities that erode white spaces. As tones lighten, enmity decreases in visibility and prevalence, with lighter non-whites posing subtler threats that align with the ethnostate's observation of better compatibility in paler groups. This inverted structure serves as a tool for threat evaluation, directing defenses toward darker enemies viewed as overt challenges driven by attributions linking deeper tones to greater envy toward lighter phenotypes and minimal honor structures. Lighter-skinned adversaries, while still oppositional, are less dominant in numbers, potentially infiltrating as neutral or supportive unless revealed. The hierarchy informs resource allocation, focusing on the most pressing darker threats to maintain boundaries and cultural integrity. External enemies, though structured by this scale, highlight the need for internal vigilance, as lighter foes might blend in. The model advocates comprehensive assessments, recognizing that darker groups require firm exclusion while lighter ones demand scrutiny for hidden opposition. This ranking strengthens the ethnostate's posture, ensuring defenses address the spectrum of threats to white preservation. The paramount threat: white race traitors. In the enemy hierarchy, the supreme adversary is the white race traitor, a person of European descent who betrays white homogeneity by opposing the ethnostate and white advocacy. Ranked above Jews, blacks, and all darker groups, these traitors inflict damage from within, exploiting their whiteness to undermine cultural ideals and facilitate external intrusions. Their actions erode trust, promote dilution, and weaken defenses, making them a uniquely perilous force that inverts the ethnostate's values of loyalty and preservation. The emphasis on white race traitors stems from their strategic vulnerability and the amplified impact of countering them. Fewer in number than non-white enemies, they can be identified and addressed through legal and lawful means, such as public exposure or social isolation. Making an example of one traitor generates a substantial deterrent effect, discouraging others and reinforcing white solidarity far more effectively than confronting numerous external foes. This method is socially acceptable within white communities, avoiding direct clashes with non-whites where options are constrained. Prioritizing traitors enhances the ethnostate's resilience, as their defeat serves as a powerful exemplar that strengthens internal unity. Unlike immutable external enemies, traitors represent preventable betrayal, allowing the model to advocate internal purification as the most efficient defense. This top positioning highlights tactical wisdom. Lawful actions against traitors yield greater returns, transforming internal threats into opportunities for consolidation. Intersections between ethnostate hierarchy and enemy dynamics. The white ethnostate's internal hierarchy intersects with its enemy framework, where the inverted enemy scale mirrors skin tone gradients but accentuates opposition to white preservation. Pure whites at the top are most vulnerable to traitors within their midst, as these betrayers exploit elevated status to sabotage. Mixed and merged tiers, with partial whiteness, risk corruption by lighter-skinned enemies who masquerade as allies, necessitating rigorous evaluation to preserve integrity. Supportive outsiders can shift to enemy status if disloyal, particularly darker tones indicating resentment. This intersection demands layered defenses. Darker external enemies are repelled at boundaries, lighter ones monitored for subversion. White traitors, however, warrant primary attention, as legal countermeasures create exemplars that deter the entire enemy spectrum. Integrating these dynamics forms a unified strategy, where internal order counters external inversion through targeted, lawful responses. Focusing on traitors maximizes efficiency, leveraging smaller numbers for larger impacts and fostering a culture of unwavering white loyalty. Conclusion: exploring white ethnostate hierarchies and key adversaries in societal models. The white ethnostate's hierarchy constitutes a comprehensive blueprint for white-centric societal organization, systematically ensuring homogeneity through precise classifications that place pure whites at the apex while extending calibrated protections downward through mixed, married, merged, and conditionally supportive tiers. This structure, grounded in dual dimensions of whiteness percentage and skin tone, integrates supplementary analyses of honor gradients and directional resentment to refine compatibility and attitudinal assessments, thereby creating a resilient framework capable of adapting to modern intermixtures without compromising the core identity. By classifying every individual relative to the white foundation, the model maintains internal cohesion, demographic integrity, and cultural continuity, transforming potential sources of dilution into ordered elements that reinforce the ethnostate's primary objectives of stability, tranquility, and expansion. The inverted enemy hierarchy, scaled by skin tone and intensity of opposition, identifies external threats with clarity, positioning darker-skinned groups, such as Jews, blacks, Jeets, Browns, and illegals, as primary antagonists due to their perceived incompatibilities in attitude, assimilation, and cultural norms. This ranking reflects the ethnostate's defensive posture, recognizing that enmity diminishes in visibility and prevalence as skin tones lighten, aligning with observations of reduced resentment and better congruence in paler non-white populations. Yet the framework elevates the white race traitor above all external adversaries, designating those of European descent who actively oppose white homogeneity and advocacy as the paramount threat. Their betrayal from within exploits proximity to whiteness, undermining trust, facilitating external encroachments, and eroding the ethnostate's foundational principles more effectively than any outside force. Lawful and socially acceptable countermeasures against white race traitors offer the most practical and impactful line of defense, as their relatively small numbers enable identification, exposure, and exemplary consequences with minimal resources. Defeating or ostracizing a single traitor generates a disproportionate ripple effect, deterring potential betrayers, reinforcing white solidarity, and strengthening internal unity far more efficiently than confronting numerous external opponents where direct action is constrained. This strategic focus prioritizes internal purification, turning the most dangerous vulnerability into an opportunity for consolidation. By concentrating efforts on those who invert white loyalty from within, the model maximizes defensive efficacy, cultivates a culture of unwavering allegiance, and ensures that the ethnostate remains fortified against both overt and subtle threats. Ultimately, this conceptual framework envisions white prosperity through rigorously ordered hierarchies that reward proximity to the core while excluding or subordinating incompatible elements. The dual emphasis on internal classification and targeted counteraction against the supreme enemy, the white race traitor, transforms adversities into mechanisms for reinforcement, converting betrayal into a catalyst for greater cohesion and resilience. In this vision, the white ethnostate achieves enduring cultural endurance by maintaining uncompromised homogeneity, virtue-driven leadership, and proactive defense, where every classified tier and every addressed threat contributes to a unified, self-sustaining society centered on the preservation and advancement of European-descended peoples. Through such deliberate structure, the model not only safeguards white identity amid global pressures but also establishes a pathway for sustained excellence rooted in loyalty, order, and strategic clarity.